Summer of the Mariposas, Chapter 20. The Rose. She is beautiful and dazzling. Rosa, my lovely wife. It didn't take the media long to find out we were home and make a three-ring circus out of it. By Saturday afternoon, just 2 days after our return, Mama had to call Special Agent Gonzalez to come and deal with the media crews. They had been spinning themselves into a frothing, famished frenzy like bloodthirsty piranhas in front of our house all morning. It wasn't easy getting rid of them, though. We actually had to give an official interview to get rid of the lot. One local news crew was allowed to set up their camera equipment in our living room. Special Agent Gonzalez guided the discussion. Looking like he belonged in our house, he sat right next to Mama on the couch, their hands almost touching as they answered questions about our disappearance and return. Seeing Mama acting so coy and proper on the sofa next to Special Agent Gonzalez had been enlightening, to say the least. We'd never seen Mama act so feminine with anyone else other than Papa. He probably wouldn't have liked seeing her act so demure. But what was even more surprising was finding Special Agent Gonzalez waiting for us outside of the Sacred Heart Church the next morning. I saw him just before he saw us, standing at the church door in his white pinstripe suit, with his hands in the pockets of his gray slacks. He looked like a male model straight out of a Sears catalog, sexy in an older man kind of way. Nothing any of us would have found exciting, but definitely someone nice and suitable for Mama. We were cutting across William Street at San Luis Elementary when he turned around and saw us. He waved, and Peta absolutely lit up as she waved back at him. He left the doorway to come meet us halfway up the sidewalk, and Mama, looking beautiful in her blue Sunday dress with a ruffled neckline, seemed surprised to see him there. She took the hand he offered and shook it modestly, saying, "Buenos dias, God be with you." Velia nudged me as we followed the crowd inside, close behind them. "What's he doing here?" "I don't know," I said, trying to keep my voice to a soft murmur. Velia rubbed me again. "I guess he goes to church here now?" "I think he likes Mama," Delia whispered. I tried not to read too much into perhaps the most promising thing to happen to us in a very long time. "Maybe it's just a coincidence." "A coincidence?" Juanita asked from behind us. "Maybe, but quite fortuitous, don't you think?" "Speak English. I didn't bring my dictionary," Delia warned, turning Juanita. "Shh," I said as we entered the church doors and took in the sights and sounds of our local parish. We hadn't been to church as a family in a very long time, so it made sense that we didn't know Special Agent Gonzalez was part of our neighborhood's congregation. Given our recent journey and Mama's assurance that we were indeed under the protection of the Virgen, we had a newfound appreciation for the religious relics that surrounded us, making the experience doubly profound for us. Juanita, the twins, and I were especially drawn to the statue of the Virgen de Guadalupe, displayed in a nook to our left. We left Mama standing just inside the door, holding Peta's hand, chit-chatting with Special Agent Gonzalez. Together we paid homage to the Virgencita, our mother in heaven, and our very own protector, by lighting 5 small candles, one for each of us. Remembering the warmth and love that she had bestowed upon us on the hill, I reached up and caressed the Virgen's glorious blue garb, tracing the embroidered stars delicately with the tips of my fingers. She had done so much for us, but I suspected there was still unfinished business between us. I knelt beside the twins at the cushioned pew before the Virgen and said a special prayer just for Mama. It was then that I noticed them, the white blushing roses sitting in a clear crystal vase among an array of their colorful counterparts. Red, yellow, pink, and orange roses, all in their own simple vases, were kept fresh by the older ladies of the neighborhood, who spent their days at misa dusting the many altars and freshening up the flowers. But even with the knowledge of the special care that those ladies took with the flowers, I could tell these white roses were not grown in one of their own gardens. No, these roses were special. They were too crisp, too fresh, too pure and white to be anything but from the same rose bush as the ones I'd given Mama. But they weren't hers. I touched the petals of Mama's bouquet as we'd left the house that morning, and marveled at how fresh and perfect they still looked, even after 3 days of sitting in a vase at the kitchen table. No, Someone else in this congregation had been blessed with these roses, and as a tribute, they had brought them here and presented them to the Virgen. I stroked the petals of the white roses and wondered if this was what I was meant to do with mine. But it didn't make sense. Tonantzin had given me specific instructions to give my rosas to Mama. It was important that I do it, because they were meant to transform her. I'm confused, I mumbled to myself. Please, tell me what to do. Was there something more? Something I forgot? The twins stirred beside me, but they kept their heads bowed and their eyes closed in prayer. I lifted my head, and the Virgencita's eyes met mine. Shocked, I turned to the twins, but they were too engrossed in prayer to see what I was seeing. When I looked up again, the Virgencita's gaze was fixed again, so I bowed my head and prayed for inspiration. I needed wisdom to honor the Virgencita's request. Juanita shook me a bit as she stood up. Let's go. Go ahead, I whispered. I'm not done yet. I must have knelt there for at least 15 more minutes before Mass started, and I had to join Mama and my sisters at their seats. I listened to the sermon and ran through all the procedures of Mass, only half involved because I kept going back to the sight of those roses at the altar of the Virgen de Guadalupe, wondering what went wrong. Outside the parish, we spoke to neighbors and friends, but only momentarily because Special Agent Gonzalez came over to offer us a ride. When Mama reminded him we only lived 2 blocks away, they both laughed about it a little too long. It was weird, almost awkward, watching Special Agent Gonzalez and Mama acting like teenagers around each other, but it was also kind of cute. After we walked home, we spent the afternoon in the backyard. The girls helped weed out Mama's vegetable garden and picked fat zucchini, ripened tomatoes, and spicy serrano peppers, which they bundled together in delicate netting to give away as gifts to Mama's comadres. I spent my time planting the seeds Abuelita Remedios had given me in large ceramic pots. When I was done, I lined them up in a row along the edge of the back porch, where Mama said they'd get the most sunlight in the mornings. In the evening, we worked in the kitchen, a group of almost grown young women talking and laughing with their Mama, cheerful and deliriously happy. We made pollo con calabacita for dinner. The chicken and zucchini casserole was so comforting and so delicious that we stuffed ourselves until we couldn't move. Afterward, the girls entertained themselves by playing loteria and watching telenovelas on the Spanish channel, while Mama and I cleaned the kitchen. We finally sat down with the girls to watch a rerun of the 1967 rendition of Corazón Salvaje. By the time the final credits rolled on the old movie, we were more than ready for bed. Buenas noches, Velia and Delia said, pushing themselves off the couch and hugging Mama. Mama embraced first the twins, then Pita, and finally Juanita. Buenas noches, muñecas. The girls all filed out of the living room and made their way to their bedrooms. I sat on my knees on the floor in front of the coffee table as I gathered the loteria boards and playing cards to put them back in their basket. One more game, Mama said. Just you and me? Okay, I said, rifling through the basket to find my favorite board, the one with La Luna, the moon, in the right corner block. Which one do you want, Mama? You know which one, she said, her eyes twinkling, daring me to figure it out. I sorted through the thin stack of boards, trying to remember if I ever knew which one was her favorite, but I couldn't think of it. I stopped to show her the board with La Rosa on the corner block. Is it this one? The Virgencita's roses were still on my mind. Only the solitary rose on the board was pink, not white, and there was no magic manifesting itself in this house or in Mama, and I worried that I had misused the great gift of Tonantzin had given us. Come on, she said with a soft, patient gleam in her eyes. You know which one. I let out a frustrated sigh and offered her the loteria boards. No, I don't know. Why don't you tell me? Because I can't figure it out. I realized I sounded curt, but I couldn't help it. The whole situation with the roses was really bothering me. I didn't want to disappoint the Virgencita. She'd given the roses to give to Mama, and I had failed to deliver them in time, because somewhere along the line they had lost their magic. I'm sorry, I whispered, trying not to lose it in front of Mama. What's wrong, cariño? Mama asked, leaning over to stroke my hair and lift my chin up. ¿Qué pasa? What's going on with you tonight? I rubbed a telling tear off the corner of my left eye with the heel of my hand and looked away. I just can't figure it out, that's all, I said. Before I could stop them, a shower of fat, ugly tears started rolling down my face. Can't figure out what? She asked. Because I know this isn't about the loteria. I clutched the wrong board card in my hands. La Rosa, I said. I thought that was yours. I thought roses were your favorite flowers. I thought roses always made things right. Mama pulled out the board with El Corazon, the human heart, in the corner block out of the basket and showed it to me. Oh, honey, this is my favorite one, she whispered. Then she sat on the floor beside me to hug me close to her. Roses are beautiful things. They are. But that's not what moves us. The most important things in life are not items people can give us. No, the most important thing in life is what's in your heart. So you didn't like the roses? I asked, trying to figure out why they had failed to transform her. Mama took my hand in hers, kissed it, and rubbed my knuckles with her thumb. No, I loved them. I really did. But it wasn't the roses that made my day. It was seeing your faces again, looking into your eyes and knowing that you still love your mama. The love in your hearts fills mine. It's what keeps me going. The roses were nice and very much appreciated, but it was you and your sisters, my children, that I needed to hold. Without you, I would be nothing more than a ghost of a woman, a spirit wandering this earth with no purpose, no direction, un fantasma, with no one to love. Goosebumps popped up on my arms, and chills ran down my spine, shaking me to the core. You mean, like La Llorona? Mama crinkled her brow and looked at me, like she wasn't quite sure what I was talking about. La Llorona? I suppose so. Yes? Oh my God, you're right, I exclaimed. I hauled myself up and out of her arms. Thank you, Mama. Thank you for loving us so much. I ran into the kitchen, plucked the roses from the vase, and headed for the front door. Odelia! Hija! Mama called after me. Where are you going? I'm sorry, Mama, but I have to deliver these to the right person, I said. As I left the house, the screen door slammed itself shut behind me, and I yelled, I'll be back soon. I promise.